Today, I am going to discuss about another new chapter, that is mineral nutrition. Mineral nutrition. This is very important topic because one question is compulsory, but sometimes two questions also appear from this. You know already. The topic is very small, but it's very important as far as the NEET examination is concerned. Okay, let us go with the important points of this topic. As minerals are inorganic elements, mineral nutrition is also called inorganic nutrition, right? And then what is meant by hydroponics? Who discovered hydroponics? Which vegetables are grown in hydroponics? Technique of growing plants in nutrient solution without soil is called hydroponics. Hydroponics was developed by Julius von Sachs. Vegetables such as tomato, seedless cucumbers, and lettuce are cultivated by this technique. Right. Then, in the plant body, there are more than 60 elements. In one plant or some other plant, there are more than 60 elements are present. The question is whether all these elements are essential or not. In order to know that, Arnon and Stout, two scientists, Arnon and Stout, proposed criteria of essentiality. Criteria of essentiality. There are three criteria proposed by Arnon and Stout. One, the element is required for completion of vegetative or reproductive phases of the growth or both. Second one, the role is specific and it cannot be replaced by any other element. Third one, the element must be directly involved in the metabolism of the plant body. If any element satisfy these three criteria, that is essential element. Not satisfy all the three or any one, then it is called as non-essential element. Based on this, all that 60 is not essential for the plant body. Only 17 elements are found to be essential. Therefore, number of essential elements 17. Is it all the elements are required in same quantity? No. Some are required in larger quantities, some are required in smaller quantities. The elements which are required in larger quantities are called macro elements, and smaller quantities are called micro elements. Micro elements are also called trace elements, not tracer elements. Trace means small, very small. Tracer means radioactive elements. Tracer elements means radioactive elements. Right. The elements which are required in greater than 10 millimole per kg of dry matter, macro. The elements which are required in less than 10 millimoles per dry matter, then it is called micro element. Among these 17 elements, 9 elements are found to be macro and 8 elements are found to be micro elements. Okay. Among these 17, 9 are macro, 8 are micro. The 9 macronutrients are CHO, NPK, CAMGS. Carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, calcium, magnesium and sulfur. The micronutrients are iron, manganese, molybdenum, copper, zinc, boron, chlorine and nickel. Iron, manganese, molybdenum, copper, zinc, boron, chlorine and nickel. All these are micronutrients and these are macronutrients. These are macronutrients. Among these 17 elements, 14 elements are absorbed from the soil, from the mineral rock. The remaining are absorbed from carbon dioxide and water. They are CHO. Non-mineral essential elements are CHO. The remaining 14 elements are mineral essential elements. So, you try to focus on this. Then, mostly questions appear from the physiological functions of these elements. I will discuss some important points. In the absence of one particular element, cell division is inhibited. What is that? Calcium. Calcium is essential for cell division, formation of spindle fibers, etc. You know very well, in the couple of days in the first class we have seen that in the phloem food is transported from source to sink. That sugar transport in the phloem require boron, very important. Similarly, for germination of pollen grain on the stigma and formation of pollen tube, what element is required? Boron. Recently discovered micronutrient is nickel. Among all micronutrients, one micronutrient required somewhat larger quantity than the remaining one. That is iron. Which element is not a part of chlorophyll but required for synthesis of chlorophyll? Iron. The central atom of chlorophyll, magnesium. Activator for Rubisco, magnesium. Activator for pepcase. Activator for enzyme pepcase, magnesium. Component of cysteine and methionine amino acids. Component of cysteine and methionine amino acids, sulfur. Which element helps in opening and closing of stomata? Potassium. When K+ ions enters into the guard cell, stomata open. F flexes, stomata closes. Then, which two ions in the plant body helps in maintaining cation-anion balance? Cation-anion balance is maintained by potassium and chlorine. Because of the presence of one element in the plant, disease resistance increases. What is that? Disease resistance in the plant body, nickel. Activator of enzyme urease, nickel. And without this element, nitrogen fixation does not occur, molybdenum. Which elements play a very important role in splitting of water, liberation of oxygen during light phase of photosynthesis? Manganese and chlorine. Manganese and chlorine. These two are essential for splitting of water. That is why there is one point called the best defined function of manganese is splitting of water, liberation of oxygen during light phase of photosynthesis. That's all. And component of ATP, cell membrane, nucleic acids, coenzymes such as NADP, etc. Phosphorus, very important. And which of the following element absorb in both anionic form and cationic form is nitrogen. Nitrogen is the only element absorbed by plants in both cationic form and anionic form. Like that, I have given so many points, and you try to cover the remaining as well, so that you can easily answer the question. And then next one is, when a particular element decreases than the critical concentration in the plant body, deficiency symptoms occur. Because of the lack of sufficient amount of this one, it causes deficiency symptoms like chlorosis, necrosis, inhibition of cell division, delay of flowering, etc. For example, molybdenum, nitrogen, potassium, sulfur deficiency causes. Molybdenum, nitrogen, potassium and sulfur deficiency causes inhibition of cell division. Similarly, molybdenum, nitrogen and sulfur deficiency, delay of flowering. Like that, you should remember those 4 deficiency symptoms: chlorosis, necrosis and these 2. These are very important. Finally, next one. Generally, when a micronutrient present in the plant body than the required quantity, that means in excessive quantity, that causes toxicity. That causes toxicity. Only micronutrients in excess quantity causes toxicity. Generally, macronutrients has no toxicity. The best example for is manganese toxicity you have studied. Excessive manganese causes brown spots surrounded by chlorotic veins, chlorotic veins with brown spots is caused by manganese toxicity, not manganese deficiency. These two are opposite. Deficiency symptoms are differ from toxicity symptoms. Toxicity is caused by only micronutrients, but deficiency is caused by both micronutrients and also macronutrients. And how minerals are absorbed by the plant body, I told you already, both active manner, passive manner, but mostly active. Mostly active. While entering into the cells, see here, each cell is having 2 space. This is outer space, this is inner space. This space is called apoplast, this is called symplast. Influx of ions into the outer space or apoplast is rapid and fast. Is rapid and passive. Rapid and passive means what? Movement of ions into the apoplast is rapid, speedily comes and without utilizing metabolic energy. And exit of ions are into the cell or out of the cell into the symplast is slow and active. Try to understand these points. Into the outer space, fast and passive. Into and out of the inner space is slow and active. That's all. That is very important point. And all these elements present in the soil absorbed by root system, then transported to the shoot system, to the tips of the plant body. How? Through what? Minerals are transported through xylem. Minerals are transported through xylem along with water due to transpiration stream. This was discovered by using radioactive isotopes. By using radioactive isotopes, the scientists were found that Minerals are mostly transported through xylem along with the water. So this is very important. And the source of these minerals is the soil. Out of 17 elements, 14 are mineral elements. All these minerals are absorbed from the soil. How these are reached into the soil? By weathering of rocks, mineral rock. And next one is nitrogen cycle. You know, the most abundant element in the atmosphere is nitrogen. It is 78% by volume. But on the other hand, most deficient element in the soil. Only little amount of nitrogen is present in the soil. For that little amount, along with plants, microbes are also compete with each other. Okay, right. Generally, nitrogen cycle, 5 steps are there. Nitrogen fixation, organic nitrogen formation, ammonification, nitrification, denitrification. These 5 are very, very important. Okay. Nitrogen fixation means conversion of nitrogen into ammonia. This may take place due to electrical nitrogen fixation by they fixed in the form of nitrate. Industrial nitrogen fixation fixed in the form of ammonia. But most common method is biological nitrogen fixation, also called diazotrophy. Also called diazotrophy. Biological nitrogen fixation is of 2 types. Symbiotic nitrogen fixation and non-symbiotic or free-living nitrogen fixation. Symbiotic, rhizobium in the root nodules of leguminous plants. And another you should remember, Frankia species. Frankia is also nitrogen fixing bacteria, actinomycetes member found in the root nodules of Casuarina, Ulmus and Myrica. These are very important. Frankia is an actinomycetes member of bacteria. It fixes nitrogen in plants such as Casuarina, Ulmus and Myrica. This is very important. Root nodules of Ulmus plant contain Frankia species. That is also symbiotic. Similarly, Azotobacter, Azospirillum, all are symbiotic. Similarly, cyanobacteria such as Nostoc anabina, they fix nitrogen both by symbiotic manner and also asymbiotic or non-symbiotic or free-living manner. They fix nitrogen in both the forms. Both, I mean to say, symbiotically they are able to fix, non-symbiotically also are able to fix. That is nitrogen fixation. You try to remember. And then next one is, ammonification. The proteins present in the dead organisms degraded with the liberation of ammonia. This process of liberation of ammonia is called ammonification. Then the 2 processes are very important. What is nitrification? What is denitrification? Based on these questions appear, and if you look at the previous papers, you will find them. So, nitrification means conversion of ammonia into nitrate. First nitrite, then into nitrate. This step is called nitrification. Chemoautotrophs are involved in this process. In the first step, Nitrosomonas nitrococcus convert ammonia into nitrite. In the second step, Nitrobacter convert nitrite into nitrate. Nitrosomonas nitrococcus convert ammonia into nitrite. This is called nitrification. Nitrifying bacteria are chemoautotrophs. Very important. And last year and a couple of years before also appeared. Which of the following is a denitrifying bacteria? You know, some bacteria, the fixed nitrogen present in the soil is converted back into atmospheric nitrogen. Such phenomena is called denitrification. And such bacteria are called denitrifying bacteria. They include Pseudomonas and Thiobacillus. Very important. Pseudomonas and Thiobacillus are denitrifying bacteria. This is also very important. Okay, then you know which element fix the nitrogen in biological nitrogen fixation? Nitrogenase enzyme. Nitrogenase enzyme is present only in prokaryotes. This is coded by which genes? NIF genes. The genes which synthesize nitrogenase enzyme coded the genes which code the synthesis of nitrogenase enzyme are NIF genes. And this enzyme is present only in prokaryotes. And this enzyme works only in the absence of oxygen. Therefore, this enzyme functions in anaerobic environment. And this enzyme is protected from oxygen by a pigment called leg hemoglobin. What is the function of leg hemoglobin? Protection of nitrogenase from high concentration of oxygen. And this enzyme converts nitrogen into ammonia. This is an expensive process. For conversion of one molecule of nitrogen into 2 ammonia molecules, it requires 8 electrons, 8 protons and 16 ATP. 8 electrons, 8 protons and 16 ATP is required. Therefore, it is an expensive process, nitrogen fixation. And nitrogenase is a protein, that is molybdenum iron protein. Nitrogenase enzyme is a molybdenum iron protein. These are very important points. And next one, you know, plants absorb nitrogen mainly in 2 forms: nitrate form, ammonia form. Nitrate form, ammonia form. When these are accumulated in the plants, because of accumulation of nitrate, it won't cause any harm. But accumulation of ammonia is toxic to the cells. Therefore, the plants convert the excess ammonia into amino acids by 2 processes. One is reductive amination and second one is transamination. Reductive amination and transamination are the reactions by which the excess ammonia is converted into amino acids. Try to remember, because excess ammonia is toxic to the cells, therefore immediately it is converted into amino acids, either by this process or by this process. This is called reductive amination and this is called transamination. And sometimes not only amino acids but also amides are also synthesized. Amides contain more nitrogen than amino acids. Amides contain more nitrogen than amino acids. aspartic acid, amino acid, glutamic acid, amino acid. The other names of these: aspartate, glutamate, aspartate, glutamate, aspartate, glutamate, both are same. Aspartic acid, also called aspartate. Glutamic acid, also called glutamate. Asparagine, glutamin are amides, which are the structural parts of the proteins of plants. What are they? Asparagine, one amide, and glutamin, another amine. Glutamin is formed from glutamate or glutamic acid. Asparagine is formed from aspartate or aspartic acid. These two are amides. This amide is formed from amino acid, aspartic acid, also called aspartate. This amide is formed from amino acid glutamin. Glutamin, also called glutamate. These contain more nitrogen than amino acids. As they contain more nitrogen, this is transported from the fixed place to the other areas of the plant body through the xylem. Through the xylem, it is transported. And finally, you know, soybean. Soybean is a legume crop. Its botanical name is Glycine max. Soybean is legume crop. Botanical name is Glycine max. And it also contains root nodules. In the root nodules, nitrogen is fixed. The excessive nitrogen in soybean is fixed in the form of urides. Urides means degraded urea. Excessive nitrogen in soybean is fixed in the form of urides, and this uride is transported to other parts of the plant body by the soybean. Soybean transport excessive nitrogen in the form of urides to different parts of the plant body. So these are the important points regarding the mineral nutrition topic. I hope you understood, and you will do work based on this topic. Practice the number of questions, definitely will get clarity and improve the marks. I hope you will do it. That's all today. Continue tomorrow. Thank you.